Chapter 14, Fueling Facility Closure. 14.1 Closure requirements. Following the most stringent local state applicable guidelines for the chapter, permanently closing the fuel facility or portion of the fuel facility in addition with the guidance, closure disposal of the storage tanks available with Appendix C of the NFPA 30 and API Standard 62610 above ground tanks physically disconnect all the fuel connections, remove the fuel, clean the tank in accordance with the API standard 2015, dismantle the tank as disposable scrap steel, comply with the API publication 2202, comply with the state and local environmental requirements underground tanks. Underground tanks perform all the soil and groundwater analysis to determine the fuel release occurred. Review the comply with the Title 40 CFR Part 280 with any applicable state and local environmental regulations. If allowed, federal, state, and local regulation programs perform closure in place with the outlined by the API RP 1604. However, the alternative may be more expensive removal of small volume tanks, abandoning place and impounded soil, cleanup of the future land use. If the removal is evacuated, disposal of the tank in accordance with the API RP 1604, compliance with the applicable guide specification EM 11 10 1 406 4006. Pipelines, physical disconnect, contact with the pipeline for the active fuel system, remove all the fuel and pick to remove the residual fuel. Purge the pipelines, remove all the vapors. Do not use the water as flushing media because the typical generate large quantities of hazardous waste with a high disposable cost. Evacuating line only if the required federal, state, and local regulations deem the necessary service headquarters for the land reuse. Report contamination, soil, ground cover discovered during evacuation to the appropriate state and local environmental authorities. If the evacuation is performed for the filling of the pipeline, cellular, concrete, other acceptable inert solid material lab with the regulations requiring the filling, the considered lowest cost for the acceptable material list as an option of the pipeline to be capped there or meets the environmental regulation with the approval of the service headquarters. 14.2 General Requirements. Chapter 2 General Design Information contains important information. Fueling facility does not begin with the design modification of any closure plan without first becoming completely familiar with Chapter 2 of the UFC 14.3 Inventory. They prepare the inventory of valuable fuel hardware which could be easily salvaged or reused on other basic equipment such as pantographic control valve pumps. Filterization equipment also demand submit list to the command fuels engineer. And now we're moving into a different section, which is actually the plates and the graphics.